All right, so there was a lot of interesting news yesterday. Well, not so much a lot of interesting news. It was basically just an announcement that the pre-orders for the Switch 2 has been delayed indefinitely. However, the release date for the Switch 2, which is June 5th, if I'm not mistaken, is going to remain the same. So there's a lot of people, of course, just talking about the tariffs, and it has to do with the tariffs or whatever. I don't know how much proof they have of that. I thought Nintendo was already aware of the tariff situation, so it seems kind of random that they just did this just now, but I am starting to wonder if this is just Nintendo being very smart and intelligent and just trying to get as much attention as possible. This whole entire past week, Nintendo has just been in the headlines. Everyone's been talking about Nintendo. I mean, they had an awesome Direct, followed up with a huge backlash from stupid gamers crying about the $80 price tag for the Mario Kart World game. There's few out there crying about the fucking price of the system. That's just fucking retarded. I mean, if you're crying about a powerful handheld hybrid system for $450, that can also run games at 4K in 60 frames per second in handheld mode, then you're a fucking idiot. You're a piece of shit. But they had that huge backlash because of the price, and now they just announced that the pre-orders have been delayed, which is making people wonder if the price for the entire system is going to be higher than $450. They think it's going to be an extra $50 now. That's what people are speculating. And I am wondering, you got YouTubers saying, oh, Nintendo Switch 2 plans are in turmoil, everything has been ruined for them. Their whole launch has been ruined and all of this. I don't know why you guys think that. I don't know why you guys think that suddenly, the Switch 2 is going to have a disastrous launch. They're not going to sell any units. They are getting so much attention now with all of this, so much publicity. The Switch 2, I feel like this seems to be like genius marketing, if you ask me, and I really do think that that Nintendo probably intentionally, decided to, cancel or delay the pre-order indefinitely just to get as many people talking about the Switch 2 as possible. I mean, it's just been waves and waves of buzz surrounding the Nintendo Switch 2. Whether it's the awesome games they announce, people fucking crying about the prices like entitled little bitches, and now people speculating whether the console is going to cost more because of the tariffs. All right, so I do think this might be Nintendo playing 4D chess right now. People don't realize it. If you guys don't remember the Wii U, when the Wii U came out, Nintendo didn't market it well at all. And I believe that was completely intentional by Nintendo. I don't know, I might be the only person who believes that Nintendo wanted the Wii U to fail. People are going to say that makes no sense. Why would they want that? Well, I believe they wanted that because it really wasn't the console they wanted to make in the first place. They wanted to make the Switch. Instead, the Wii U was almost like it was kind of like a test, I guess. I think they even said this too. I believe they admitted that the Wii U was like a prototype or something like that to the Nintendo Switch. And the Wii U, even though it was kind of fun, it was kind of a piece of crap too, because you could play on that little handheld, but the problem is you had to be 10 feet away from you had to be no more than 10 feet away from the actual console. So you moved just a little too far, and then then you couldn't really play the game, right? So I do believe that And here's another reason why I think they wanted the Wii U to fail. Well, I didn't even give a reason to begin with, but I believe they wanted the Wii U to fail so gamers would be hungry for a brand new console, which was the Switch. You know, the Wii U only sold 10 million units. So then when the Switch came around, people who didn't buy the Wii U, they were just like, oh, hell yeah, here's a really good console right here. This thing is awesome. I'm definitely buying that. Because, you know, they didn't waste money on the Wii U. So they were perfectly fine with... they were perfectly fine with spending that money on the Switch. They were hungry for something new, for a new system. So, to this day, I believe, you know, people think that, oh, that was a failure, oh, Nintendo, what a bunch of idiots. But no, I mean, I really think they wanted that damn thing to fail. I don't think they wanted people to buy that thing. I think they wanted just a decent amount of people to buy it. But I'm pretty sure they didn't want it to be a successful like the Wii was. Because, you know, if hundreds of millions of people had bought that thing, and then they released a Switch was a far better console, then the chances of it succeeding probably would have been pretty low, because, you know, so many people would have had the Wii U instead. They would have been satisfied with that, maybe. That's just my belief. That's just what I believe. I still think they intentionally made the Wii U fail so that the Switch could succeed. That makes sense. And right now, I think they're intentionally having all this bad news and whatnot surround the Switch 2 just to get people to talking. And you know, they just announced that there's going to be another Nintendo Direct for April 17, if I'm not mistaken. Another one, which is great. They need to have more Directs because the system's coming out very soon. So it's like they got to have one or two each month until that thing releases. So I'm glad they're having another Nintendo Direct. I mean, they're just piling on the hype, and they're getting people to just talk so much about it with all of the news, with everything, you know, regarding the price, regarding the pre-order delay. People are just talking so much about it. When it comes to what they're going to talk about in the Nintendo Direct, I mean, in the next Nintendo Direct, I'm wondering if they're going to show off more of Mario Kart to pretty much justify the $80 price point. Because here's the thing, there's been so many games lately with little add-ons, bullshit add-ons, that people are paying hundreds of dollars for. I mean, people are buying games that cost pretty much $100 just because it has a little bit of, you know, added content to it. Nintendo just made a game that's probably got a lot of content in it. It does. Super Mario World, it's going to be way bigger than any other Mario Kart game. And so the $80 price tag is justified. You fucking idiots don't seem to realize that, but I think Nintendo's going to show everybody why. They're probably going to have more great things to show off when it comes to the game. So they're probably going to just do that. They're probably going to sort of explain to idiots out there why the game costs $80 instead of, you know, dropping it just because people keep bitching in the chat during their Treehouse events to keep dropping it. They're just going to say, no, this is why we're not going to drop it. This is why you should pay $80 for this game. And you just need to shut the fuck up and buy it because you know you want the game. I'm also hoping they have more games to announce. I'm hoping there's going to be some other games that hadn't been shown, that will be shown. Some other big hitters, maybe even some new IP. I'm hoping there's like a new IP out there. Maybe one or two new IPs. So hopefully this next Direct is going to be so awesome and epic that people kind of just, you know, forget that, you know, they were ever pissed off about the $80 price tag for Mario Kart World. And by the way, it is just Mario Kart World that is $80. Every other game's $70. I mean, the Donkey Kong Bonanza game's $70. So You idiots fucking crying about one game being priced an extra $10. So fucking ridiculous, but I'm not going to go into that rant again. You guys are fucking stupid out, so I don't need to keep harping on that. And y'all are still spamming drop the price in their Treehouse live chats, thinking that that's going to do something. But anyways, so they got this April 17 Direct. Hopefully it's going to be pretty big and epic as well. It's going to be jam-packed with awesome content in it. Give people more reasons to want to buy the system. Hopefully they'll even they'll justify the price of Mario Kart World. But I'm mainly hoping that there's just going to be some really cool games to be announced. Some big games, some big heavy hitters, especially ones that are going to come out on launch day. There's not a lot right now that's coming out on launch day. As far as like exclusive games are concerned, doesn't seem to be much coming out on launch day. So hopefully they're going to have more to announce there. But I do believe all of this, everything that's going on right now, I feel like it's intentional, you know? People seem to think that, Nintendo just, announced the Switch 2 at a very bad time, and they made a huge mistake, and they just, they just hit a big patch of bad luck. It's like, well, I mean, do you not see how much attention and publicity that they're getting right now? I don't see why, gamers tend to be very one-dimensional, they're just very stupid like that. They kind of just parrot one another. They have no intelligence whatsoever. They think they know what they're talking about, but they don't. And they just don't really have any really deep critical thinking skills. I do believe this is intentional. I believe Nintendo's just trying to get as much publicity as possible, and they're doing that. Everyone is just talking about the Switch right now, the Switch 2. This huge backlash that they got for the prices, I believe a lot of it is fake. It's fake outrage from stupid-ass PlayStation fangirls, Xbox fangirls, who they know that the Switch 2 is a threat. I mean, because of how powerful it is, it's going to be getting all the third-party. I mean, all these third-party companies, these third-party developers seem to be very interested in it. They seem to be excited. They're like, wow, we're really excited to put our games here. And Nintendo Switch, Nintendo's going to keep rolling in the first-party games, because Nintendo, in my opinion, they want their first-party games to be the best games in the market. They want their games to be the ones that sell the most. And so, because here's the thing, Nintendo already dominated Xbox and PlayStation with the Switch. Switch was far less powerful than those other two. The underpowered console like the Nintendo Switch completely outsold PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, and of course the Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X, whatever. Switch absolutely dominated them. And it's so funny how so many of these idiots, they want to change the rules when it comes to, these console wars or whatever. And it's like, well, the Switch technically doesn't count in the console war. It doesn't count. They're doing their own thing. That means they don't count. It's like, what are you talking about? It's a gaming system, dumbass. It's a fucking gaming system. Yes, it does count. You fucking idiots. You talked all that shit whenever the Wii U was, getting destroyed and not selling well. But the Switch comes out, completely destroys the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5. And you guys want to sit there and act like, well, it doesn't count because they're not competing with PlayStation. They're doing their own thing. Look, dumbass, it's a fucking gaming console. They also make their own video games. They're fucking competing, all right? All right? I don't know why you dumbasses, who makes up these rules when it comes to, video game consoles or whatever. And, well, you're only in competition with them if your console is exactly the same. People trying to say that, because the Switch is a hybrid, it's therefore not a proper console, therefore it's not competing. That is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. Dumbest fucking shit. So apparently, the only way you can compete with somebody is if you're doing the same thing that they're doing. No, it doesn't work that way. Sometimes if you want to get ahead of the competition, you have to do things differently. That's just fucking common sense. You know, you're not going to beat somebody by doing exactly the same thing they're doing. So, again, you gamers, you're so fucking stupid. You have no common sense whatsoever, no intelligence. Nintendo Switch, they dominated Xbox and PlayStation despite having no power whatsoever. Now the Switch 2 is coming out. It has way more power than the Switch 1. And to be honest, it's probably, you could probably say it's more powerful than Xbox and PlayStation, since it's a hybrid and it's able to do all these things. And it's probably going to outperform both of those consoles. In my opinion, the Switch 2 is far more valuable than that piece of shit PlayStation 5 Pro. Far more valuable than that $700 piece of crap. So I suspect that it's going to outperform both of those systems, and it's going to still be the cheaper console at $450. People won't need to buy a PlayStation for its third party, and you know that the vast majority of people who buy a PlayStation, they only buy it for third party games. Why? Because the games that sell the most on PlayStation are third party games and Xbox games, which is pretty pathetic. So no one's going to be buying an Xbox, that's for damn sure, because Phil Spencer has been giving exclusives to PlayStation. So what's the point in buying his system? He doesn't treat you like a premium member if you buy his system. He's still going to give games to PlayStation, and the only selling point is Game Pass. Nah, sorry, that's not going to do it for people. So, anyways, yeah, I believe Nintendo's intentionally just doing all of these things and delaying the pre-order just to get people to talk about them, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens next.